Getting rich isn't hard. It doesn't take luck or some magic skill. In fact, there's a proven formula to building wealth. The reason most people aren't rich is simple. They don't know the rules of the game. They don't know the laws that they have to follow to actually build wealth. And these are fundamental laws. They're not nice to haves. They're not things that you can choose to follow. If you want to get rich, these are things that you must do. And I had to learn these the hard way. You see, when I was 24, I had already built multiple businesses. I'd been an entrepreneur for almost 7 years, and I thought I was doing really well. And I would just sit around my apartment, anxious, embarrassed, and frankly confused. Like, why was I not wealthy even though I had built successful businesses? Ultimately, it all came crashing down on my head, and I had to rebuild from scratch. And at the time, it was extremely embarrassing. But I'm sharing this story because I want you to understand that there are fundamental laws of success, and if you follow these, the path to getting wealthy is pretty straightforward. So let's pull back the curtains and talk about it. So first things first, hard work has never made anyone rich on its own. You can't just work hard and get rich. You need ownership of an asset that you can translate into wealth. And if you don't have ownership of whatever you're building, you will not be able to get rich off this activity. So step one on your path to getting rich is to simply get an asset that you own. Now, if you have a bunch of cash, you can go buy an asset. You can buy a home, you can buy a business. There are assets that you can simply buy and then build them up over time to create your wealth. But if you're like me, when I was 24, I had no money. Even though my businesses were doing well, I was basically broke. And so I had to go create assets that I could own. And for most people, this will mean starting a business. It's not the same as being an employee in a business. Even if you're an early employee, you might own 0.5%, 1% of this business. That is not an asset you own. You need large ownership in an asset. Now, the second step is to increase the value of that asset. It sounds really simple, but this is where most people fail. You see, starting a business is basically a guaranteed way to decrease your net worth instantly. Because when you first start a business, your asset, i.e. your business, is worth basically nothing. At best, you just have a new job that probably pays you less than your previous job. And most people just get stuck in this phase. They grow the business slowly, they slowly increase their salary, and they're lucky if they ever reach the salary they previously had, but they feel like they're an entrepreneur and they are their own boss and all that. It's a load of crap. You need to actually build an asset that is worth something. And so, using my example earlier, let's say you have real estate, you own a house or something. You can increase the value of that house by remodeling the house, by getting new tenants, by increasing the rent. All these things actually increase the value of the house, and thus the asset that you own, and therefore your net worth increases alongside it. If you have a business, you can scale that business, get more customers, streamline your costs, up your price. There are all these different ways to increase the value of your asset. I'm not going to go into them into this video. What I want you to understand is this step-by-step formula. So you have the asset, you increase the value of the asset by making the business better. And as the value of the asset increases, your equity stake becomes worth more. This is how people actually get rich. They don't just pay themselves tons of money, they own something that increases in value over time. And then the third step is to actually extract cash out of that asset. Being paper rich is the same as being broke. I was there for a really long time. I had this business that was doing really well, but I wasn't extracting the full value out of my business. And this is where most people just get stuck again. They just have high-paying jobs. It's great, congrats, you have a high-paying job, you're your own boss, but you're not getting rich. And so if you don't learn the techniques of extracting cash out of the asset you own, you can kiss your dreams goodbye. Now, there's a few different ways you can do this. You can sell the business and just completely sell out and take your equity out and get it in cash. You can do a minority buyout where you sell to private equity. You can take a loan against the business and do a cash out refinance, especially if you have a home or something. You can just get a loan, take money out of that business, put it in your pocket, and then diversify it in other investments. Or if you don't want to sell the business, you want to contain ownership, you can pull a dividend out of the business, but you need to extract cash out of the asset that you own. It is not enough to be paper rich because one day the market could change, your business could fail, your partner could screw you over. You need to be extracting cash out of the business regularly. And frankly, that's it. It's not that complicated, people. First step, get an asset that you own. Second step, increase the value of that asset. Third step, extract value out of that asset. This is how basically everyone who's rich got there. It's a very simple process. So what you need to do actually is now look at your life. Look at the activities that you're engaging in. Look at the way that you're trying to get rich. Are you following this process? Do you own the asset that you're building, or are you just working for someone else? Are you increasing the value of that asset? Are you happy with just where it's at? And finally, are you extracting value out of that asset? Do you have a sales plan? Do you have a dividend plan? Do you have a way to actually build your wealth from the asset? Now, if you want to see how this plays out in real life, I just filmed a video on how I built a business and ultimately sold it for $110 million when I was just 31 years old. I'll put the link over here, so just click that and I'll see you over there.